WV Uncommon Place. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommon Place digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacy and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to Uncommon Place.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommon Place. My name is JR Sparrow, and you all know me as a video gamer. You know me as this guy that gets out here. Now, mind you, let's go back to my age first. I'm born 1985 on the 13th of July, so it makes me 39. Now, I play video games and started as a young man. Had the Nintendo Entertainment System. My mom and dad had that old ColecoVision bullshit and some of that Odyssey and something else. And they had an Atari 2600. But I had the NES. And on the NES, we had Duck Hunt, we had Super Mario, but we had this game called Tecmo Football. And now, mind you, wasn't probably one of the gifted athletes that played football or anything like that, but I loved NFL games. So as I went on, ended up with Bill Walsh, and then at some point, Madden came out. Now, Madden for me was a Super Nintendo deal, Genesis, Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation. And in between that time, Sony made some games. They had NCAA Game Breaker. And then EA Sports came out with college football. And the college football had the part of the option, which is part of college football, which is not used very much in the NFL. Different little schemes for offenses and stuff like that. You know, you had your Maryland Eye and different things like that, or the Power Eye, whatever you want to call it. So NCAA football, to me, was a great thing that we had. Now, with this NCAA football, and I remember growing up, you had this dynasty mode, and you had these modes where you could take them players, that if you build your own player, build them up.
Caution, toll booth.
Sorry about that, y'all. Over 4 years, you could build them up, then you could take them to NFL draft and Madden. Half the time, the motherfucker will draft low, blah, blah, blah. Then later on down the road, they had more and more college footballs. Then to the point of NCAA football 2014. A brother, two brothers played for UCLA basketball team, the O'Bannon brothers, which they had a deep run in the NCAA basketball tournament. Sued Electronic Arts because their likeness was used in a college basketball game that was on Super Nintendo or something else. And it was a long fought battle, which I thank the O'Bannon brothers because they ushered in a new precedent for student athletes, which would lead more into this NIL type stuff that we got going on. But at the same time, what they did, I hated them for this one thing because that ended college football's reign for me. Now, as a person that had to deal with this, I dealt with another thing. In 2005, Madden got the exclusive rights to the NFL video games, which killed off a great game by Sega and Visual Concepts called NFL 2K5, which is still considered by most to be the greatest football game ever made. So dealing with that previous and then having this thing happen with the college football, it gave me a narrative of that, you know, things can happen so you lose your games. So up until this year, we didn't have no college football, and then they finally, and I'm talking about finally, they worked out the kinks, they got the players their money, blah, 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 and now we have college football. And the eager me, which was back in middle school and a little bit of high school, got the college football game, and yes, I grabbed me a sorry-ass team, and I decided to make me a dynasty, and I play teams online, and I play in a shitty conference, but you know, you don't start out with a big team. So I'm able to live my college football dreams vicariously through this game, and coach my team with my good defensive tactics and offensive coordinator, which he might be trash ass, but we're not going to go there. So I'm able to play now. And my friends and everything else, the thing that we like about this game allows cross-play. So you can be on the Xbox or you can be on the PlayStation 5. And I did say PlayStation 5 because they did something that was odd and didn't release it on the old gen or anything like that. They just put it out here on the new thing. And thus far, I have found this to be rather entertaining. You can still take players over to play on Madden, which that's not an issue of mine. I'm just there to develop my team, see how they're going to do. And you have so many other type of characteristics to worry about the transfer portal now and players leaving and stuff like that. Because back when people used to transfer on the old games, they had to sit out a season. I don't think they had to sit out a season on the game, but it was real hard to move certain players around. With that being said, this game has exposed numerous teams and numerous players that are on teams such as like a New Mexico State or something that may have an amazing athlete on their team, and then the rest of the team is subpar or stellar. And this game brings me enjoyment for the simple fact that when I'm playing this game, it's that nostalgic rush. It ain't like playing a Super Mario 64 or something that you ain't played in a while that has been polished. This is like it's a different direction than Madden, because Madden was all the football you had besides a few other games, or if you went back and had these other systems. So to me, it was a sigh of relief and a fresh breath of air for anyone that likes college football. And that brings me to the end of this story, because basically I was able to accomplish what I needed to by having this game. And this game is taking up at least 20 hours of my time, taking Marshall Nell and trying to build him into a powerhouse. So I basically just wanted to get this out here so y'all could understand what goes on in my video game world. And I want to thank you very much for being a part of this with me. And you all check out West Virginia Commonplace later.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at onecommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.